If a woman opens up to you about her problems, she's not asking for a solution. She's testing your strength. You've probably been there. She calls you in the middle of the night, venting about a coworker, her family, her feelings. You sit there, trying to help, offering advice, suggesting solutions. You think you're being supportive, being a good man. But what happens next? She's away. She seems distant. She stops calling and you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Here's the hard truth most men never learn. Women don't share problems because they want you to fix them. They share because they want to feel you. They want to know if your emotional frame is solid or if you'll crumble under the weight of their chaos. And this is where Stoicism becomes your greatest weapon. If you don't know how to stand still while the storm rages, she will never feel safe with you. And if she doesn't feel safe, she won't feel desire. This video will show you exactly how to stay calm, stay grounded, and more importantly, become the young kind of man she can't stop thinking about. Not by saying more, but by doing less and being more. We're not here to play games. We're here to sharpen your masculine edge with truth, not fluff. Let's get into it. Number 1. She wants your presence, not your panic. Let me tell you something, why love cools lust, that most men get completely wrong. When a woman opens up to you about what's bothering her, whether it's work, her mood, her friends, or even something about you, your instinct is to fix it, to make it go away. You want to solve her problems because that's what you've been conditioned to do. Be useful but helpful, be a good man. But here's the reality. That's not what she wants from you. She doesn't want your advice. She doesn't need your plan. And she definitely doesn't want to feel like she's a burden that needs fixing. What she actually wants is something much more subtle and far more powerful. She wants to feel your presence, your emotional stillness, your masculine calm in the middle of her emotional storm. Let's look at a real example. David, 44, lives in Arizona, recently divorced, successful in business, but struggling to connect in relationships. He met Rachel, 39, a single mom with a busy life and a sharp mind. On their 4th date, she opened up about the stress she was feeling, co-parenting with her ex. David immediately jumped in with suggestions, new custody arrangements, legal strategies, how to make the schedule work better. Rachel went quiet. The energy shifted. A few days later, she told him she didn't feel the connection she'd hoped for. David was confused. He thought he was being supportive. But what Rachel actually needed was something entirely different. Someone who could hold space for her emotions, not try to control them. She needed to feel that David could witness her chaos without flinching. Women live in a more emotionally dynamic world than men. When they share, they're often not looking for answers. They're looking for attunement. They want to know, can you handle me when I'm not at my best? Can I trust your energy? When mine is in pieces, if you start giving advice, the moment she gets vulnerable, it tells her that her emotions make you uncomfortable, that you need her to be fine in order for you to be okay. And that's the opposite of strength. This is where Stoicism becomes crucial. Stoic wisdom teaches us that peace comes from mastering what's within us, not reacting to what's outside. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's what she wants to feel when she opens up to you, not your panic, not your hurry to fix. She wants to feel that you are centered, grounded, and unfazed. Think about it like this. She's the ocean full of movement, emotion, tides. You are the coastline, still solid, unchanging. The moment you try to stop the ocean or manage the waves, you've lost your role. You've stopped being the grounding force and started being a lifeguard. She doesn't want a lifeguard. She wants a lighthouse. And here's the reward. When you get this right, she opens up more. She relaxes. Her walls come down and she begins to feel a deep magnetic pull toward you. Not because you solved her life, but because she feels safe in your energy. This is emotional attraction. The kind that laughs. The kind that grows quietly over time and turns into obsession. David learned that the hard way. But you don't have to remember this. When she brings you her chaos, she's not looking for control. She's looking for containment. Can you hold the space? Can you be calm while the storm rages? If you can, She won't forget you. Comment below if you know this is true. Say it clearly, I stay calm. And if you think this was powerful, wait until you see what's coming next. It only gets deeper from here. Number 2. The masculine power off 2. 2 modes. 1 woman. Stillness. There's a kind of strength most men overlook. It's not loud, it doesn't chase, it doesn't argue or explain. But when a woman feels it, she stops in her tracks. That strength is stillness. Stillness isn't the absence. Safety kills the spark of emotion. It's the control of it. It's the ability to stay centered when everything around you is pulling for your attention, your reaction, your energy. Most men, when a woman is upset, feel pressure to do something, say something, fix something, move toward her emotionally with a flurry of action. But in doing so, they actually step away from their power because true masculine energy doesn't rush toward chaos. It tankers itself and lets the chaos come to rest on it. When a woman is venting, crying, spiraling, or just uncertain, she doesn't want a man who mirrors her instability. She doesn't want to feel like her emotions throw you off balance. She wants to feel like she can lose control and you won't. And that's where stillness speaks louder than any words. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That's not poetry. That's instruction. In the space between her storm and your silence sharpens her clarity. She breathes easier. She softens. She feels held, not physically but energetically. And here's the truth. That's where trust is born. She won't say it out loud, but in her body she's asking, "Can you handle all of me?" The beauty and the chaos. And most men fail that test not because they're weak, but because they never learn to be still. They confuse stillness with disinterest or coldness. But real stillness is just attentive. It's alert. It's presence without panic. It's not ignoring her. It's containing her. A picture is thought. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you're grounded, your reaction slows down. You don't absorb her energy. You transmute it. You don't shrink under pressure. You become the space where pressure dissolves. And when you stay in that frame long enough, something shifts. She begins to see you not just as a man, but as a force. Not someone who reacts, but someone who leads. Not someone who fixes, but someone who holds. That's erotic. That's unforgettable. Stillness isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the hardest thing. Remaining composed when your instincts scream to react. And if you can master that, you become rare. Because in a world full of noise, a man who doesn't flinch becomes the man she can't shake. So next time, emotions, rise, yours or hers. Don't be the wave, be the rock. Comment below if this resonates with you. Just say it out loud. I am the rock. And if you felt the weight of this truth, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. It goes deeper and it cuts sharper. Number 3, don't fix her. Make her feel you. Let's get something straight. A woman doesn't come to you with her emotions so you can fix them. She's not a project. She's not broken. And she's definitely not looking for a solution manual. She comes to you because she wants to feel you. Let that sink in. She's scanning subconsciously for your depth, your presence, your emotional gravity, not your logic. Let's take a real-world example. Mark is 52, divorced, 5 years ago successful in his construction business and now dating again. He meets Elena, 47, a nurse and mother of 2. Things go well for a few weeks. Then one night over dinner, she starts talking about how overwhelmed she feels. Work, kids, finances, everything. Mark listens for a moment, then jumps in with a plan. Budgeting apps, daycare referrals. A weekend away, he thinks she's being helpful. He thinks she'll appreciate his effort. But Elena doesn't lean in. She pulls back because Mark, like most men, made the mistake of thinking she needed a solution. What she really wanted was connection, emotional intimacy. She wanted to feel his strength by how he held her feelings, not how he tried to eliminate them. She didn't want answers. She wanted attunement. This is where most men fail because fixing is safe. Fixing is logical. Fixing feels masculine. But to her, fixing says one thing: you're too much for me. And that, more than anything, kills desire. See, when you try to fix her, you're stepping out of your body and into your head. You become a mechanic, not a man. But when you stay present with her emotion, just hold it, feel it, breathe with it, you become unforgettable. Women remember how you made them feel, not what you said, not how fast you solved a problem. So what do you do instead? You ground yourself. You breathe slowly. You stay close. You nod. You listen not to respond but to understand. You make eye contact. You don't fidget. You don't correct. You let her storm pass through you without scrambling to build shelter, because the shelter is you. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And most women don't need you to remove the storm. They need to know the storm won't move you. Mark eventually realized his mistake. When he saw Elena a few weeks later, he apologized. Not for trying to help, but for not listening. He told her, "I thought being a man meant having the answers, but I'm starting to learn. It means being able to hold the weight without running from it." Elena cried. Then she kissed him. This is the paradox. The less you try to do, the more she starts to feel. She doesn't want your toolbox. She wants your emotional presence, your unshakable energy that says, "I'm here, I feel you, and you don't scare me." That's what creates safety. And safety creates sexual polarity. So the next time she opens up, don't fix, feel, and let her feel you. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know. I feel deeply. And trust me, if this hit home, you're going to want to see what comes next. What's coming will shift the way you see women and yourself forever. Bring dominant energy safely. Number 4. She feels safe when you feel nothing. This one might sting a little, but it's the truth most men never hear. The less reactive you are, the safer she feels. We live in a world that tells men to open up, be vulnerable, share everything. And yes, there's value in authenticity. But when it comes to romantic polarity, when it comes to creating attraction and safety, your emotional control matters more than your emotional display. Why? Because women test men constantly, not out of cruelty but biology. It's instinct, it's subconscious. It's her way of checking. Can he handle me? Can he handle the world? Can I trust his direction? And if every time she's upset, you mirror her energy, get flustered, raise your voice, retreat, beg, cry, she loses faith. Not because she's heartless, but because she's wired to seek safety. And safety doesn't come from a man who's emotionally volatile. She doesn't need you to be a robot. She needs to feel that no matter what happens, you won't crack. That's why Stoicism isn't about being numb. It's about being immovable. Think of it this way. She's the wind. You're the mountain. She can be wild, swirling, unpredictable. That's fine. That's her nature. But when she looks at you, she wants to see something solid. A presence that doesn't bend with every emotional breeze. A man who can take all of her storm and not get swept away. There's a quote from Marcus Aurelius that sums this up perfectly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. She wants to feel that power in you, that self-governance, that emotional independence, that calm. Because when you don't feel the need to match her chaos, she feels grounded. She feels like the storm has found its anchor. And that's when she relaxes into her femininity. See, a woman doesn't truly surrender to a man because he talks about his feelings. She surrenders when she feels his stability. When she knows she can bring all of herself to the table and he'll remain steady. So when she pokes, tests, cries, nags, withdraws, don't chase, don't argue, don't collapse, hold your frame. Let hair motion wash through the room like weather. You are the atmosphere, not the cloud. Your job is not to fight her feelings. Your job is to show her they don't control you. And ironically, when she feels you're unmoved, not cold, just unshaken, that's when she opens. That's when the softness comes. That's when trust is built. That's when her body begins to respond in ways words can't touch. Because deep down, every woman is looking for a man who can hold more than just her body. She wants a man who can hold her intensity without flinching. And the man who can do that is most men try to win her through validation, but the man who holds his emotional center no matter what is the one she keeps thinking about. So next time things get heated, ask yourself, am I being her mirror or her mountain? Drop your answer in the comments. Say it out loud. I stay unmoved. And if this shifted how you see yourself, just wait. What's next will challenge everything you think you know about masculine presence. Switch from partner to passion. Number 5. You are the frame. She's the art. Let's break something down that most men never even think about. In any dynamic between a man and a woman, someone holds the frame. And if it's not you, it's her. What is the frame? It's the emotional container, the invisible structure, the direction, tone, and energy of the relationship. If you don't define it, she will. And the moment she does, you stop being the man. Let's use something visual to drive this home. Think of a piece of art. Bold, beautiful, chaotic, emotional. Thatcher. Now think of the frame. Clean, strong, simple, that's you. Without the frame, the art spills out, it loses shape, it loses impact, it gets lost in the noise. But with the frame, the art becomes magnetic. It has focus. It commands presence. Here's what that looks like in real life. Derek, 49, lives in Denver. He's a high architect. Precise, sharp, in control at work. But in his personal life, total chaos. He's dating Amanda, 46, a passionate woman with strong opinions. She challenges him, pushes back. One moment, hot, the next cold. When she pulls away, he chases. When she cries, he apologizes sometimes for things he didn't even do. He's constantly adapting to her moods, walking on eggshells trying to avoid conflict. He thinks he's being sensitive, supportive. But what Amanda feels is this. He doesn't lead. He follows. She feels like she's setting the emotional tone. And deep down that exhausts her because women may say they want to lead. But what they actually crave is a man who defines the emotional direction not with control but with certainty. A Stoic man doesn't control people. He controls the environment through his presence. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that's the key. If you want to hold the frame, you have to master yourself first, your reactions, your focus, your values, your emotional state. Because the frame isn't about power over her. It's about power over yourself. And when you hold that kind of presence, clear, calm, grounded, she feels it immediately. She relaxes. Her defense drop. Her femininity expands because now she gets to be the art. She gets to be soft, expressive, emotional, knowing there's something stronger holding space around her. And that right there is where desire is born. It's not about domination. It's not about rules. It's about energy polarity. When you're the frame, you lead the rhythm of the interaction. You decide what matters, what deserves attention, what doesn't. You choose what you emotionally invest in and what you let go. Derek started shifting this. He stopped reacting to Amanda's tests. He started guiding conversations, holding eye contact longer, pausing before he spoke. He didn't try to manage her feelings, he managed his own. And slowly, Amanda changed. She became warmer, more affectionate, less chaotic. Not because she changed, but because Derek finally stepped into the masculine role. She was silently waiting for, "You're the frame. She's the art." Don't forget that. Drop a comment if you know what this means. Now say it with certainty. I hold the frame. And if this unlocks something in you, what's coming next is going to deepen it even further. You're not just becoming a man. You're becoming the force that defines the space around you. Selective unpredictability. Done right. Number 6. Control your reaction. Control her mind. Let's make one thing clear. Women watch your reactions more than they hear your words. It's not what you say, it's how you respond. You can talk all day about being confident, grounded, and masculine. But the moment you flinch, lose your temper, get needy, or try to prove yourself, the spell is broken. She sees it, she feels it. And in that split second, the frame shifts. Here's why that matters. Women test to feel. They poke to check for strength. They bring emotion to the table not to destroy your frame, but to find it. And if every little storm moves you, she won't trust you to hold her. Now here's the twist. You don't control her mind by controlling her. You control it by controlling you. She watches how you breathe, how fast your tone shifts, how easily your eyes betray your frustration, how often you react to the bait. Every reaction tells her one thing, whether or not you're solid. This is where Stoicism separates boys from him. Ike T. Titus said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." Most men are walking balls of untrained reactivity. Their inner world is chaotic, so the outside world pulls them around like puppets. Not you. You're learning to reverse that. When she's emotional, you pause. When she's unclear, you slow down. When she accuses, you don't defend you. Listen, assess, and decide how to respond. Because real power isn't about dominance. It's about discernment. When she realizes you don't flinch, don't beg. Don't explain yourself out of insecurity. Something shifts in her nervous system. She starts to feel safe. And safety isn't boring. Not when it's paired with power. It's arousing. Because in a world full of emotional instability, you become the exception. Most men think reacting shows they care, that getting loud, dramatic, or emotional proves they're engaged. But what it really proves is that you're easy to move. And a man who is easy to move is easy to forget. So what do? You train stillness. You train calm. You let her emotional spike pass without letting your blood pressure rise with it. You make your nervous system your superpower. Because when your reactions are under control, you're not just running the moment. You're running the energy in the room, and that's what influences her. That's what pulls her in. That's what makes her respect you. Not just as a man, but as a force. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you live by that, she starts to recalibrate herself around your steadiness. She trusts your leadership. She relaxes into your direction. She softens not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Control your reaction. Control her perception. Control your perception. Control her attraction. Say less. Breathe deeper. Move slower. And let the world, including her, adjust to your energy. If this clicked for you, drop it in the comments. I stay in control. What's coming next will shift how you handle everything from her fire to your focus. Stay with me. Number 7. Don't be her 7. Save the heat for desire. Therapist, be her obsession. Let's get own thing clear. She didn't choose you to be her emotional crutch. She chose you because something about you sparked desire, energy, tension, mystery, that pulse of attraction that says, "This man doesn't just understand me, he pulls something deeper out of me." But here's the trap. A lot of men confuse emotional availability with emotional servitude. They think listening to her vent for hours, giving advice she didn't ask for, and analyzing her childhood wounds will make her feel closer. It won't. That show you become her therapist, not her obsession. Let me give you a real story. Chris is 44, a fitness trainer in Tampa. He's emotionally intelligent, grounded, and wants to do things right. He starts dating Melissa, 41, a smart, beautiful divorce with 2 teenage kids. Early on, Melissa opens up about her past, her ex, husband's infidelity, financial stress, her fear of dating again. Chris Linden, he listens, offers thoughtful advice, sends her articles, even offers to pay for her therapy. At first, Melissa seems grateful, but soon she starts pulling back, cancels dates, takes longer to reply, says she needs space. Chris is blindsided because he thought being emotionally available would make her feel secure. But what he didn't realize is he blurred the line between lover and counselor. Melissa didn't need fixing. She needed to feel his masculine presence, not his. Emotional caregiving. Here's the truth. Most men don't hear. A woman doesn't crave a man who's always emotionally available. She craves a man who knows when to hold space and when to pull her into his world. Emotional support has a place. But obsession, the kind that makes her think about you at 2 ones, comes from tension, from polarity, from presence. And presence doesn't mean becoming her therapist. It means staying grounded in your energy, even when she's spiraling in hers. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Chris wasn't doing anything wrong, but he forgot what made Melissa attracted to him in the first place. It wasn't his ability to problem solve. It was his confidence, his direction, his ability to flirt with her energy, not fix it. So, how do you avoid this trap? You listen, but you don't absorb. You validate, but you don't overanalyze. You offer space, but you stay rooted in your masculine core. And most importantly, you keep the spark alive. You tease, you lead, you bring her back into her body, out of her mind. Because obsession isn't built through emotional labor. It's built through emotional polarity. When she feels your unshakable presence, when she sees you aren't trying to rescue her but invite her into your frame, that's when you become unforgettable. That's when she texts first. That's when she opens more. That's when she chases you. Don't let emotional intimacy kill sexual polarity. Balance the two. And remember, she already has a therapist. She's looking for something else. Drop a comment if this one hit hard. Say it loud. I led the spark. And trust me, what's coming next is what turns spark into wildfire. Let's keep going. Number 8. Never crave her approval. Cycle polarity on purpose. Here's a bit of truth most men avoid. The moment you seek her approval, you lose her attraction. It doesn't matter how good you look, how successful you are, or how smooth your words sound. If she senses that you need her validation, the polarity dies. Neediness is repellent. Craving approval is weakness in disguise. You don't have to say it out loud. She can feel it. She sees it in the way you wait for her reaction before you speak, in how quickly you text back hoping for a heart emoji, in how you adjust your opinions just to avoid disagreement. That energy, it screams one thing: please like me. And that's not masculine. That's approval addiction. Now let's get one thing straight. It's natural to want her attention, her affection, her body. But there's a difference between wanting and needing. The Stoics understood this long before dating coaches and YouTube videos existed. Seneca said, "A man is unhappy, though he reigns the world, if he does not consider himself supremely happy." Translation: if your self-worth hinges in someone else's response, you're already lost. A Stoic man builds himself from the inside out. His confidence isn't borrowed from her compliments. His identity isn't shaped by her approval. And ironically, that's what makes her crave him. Because when a man doesn't seek validation, his energy becomes magnetic. He's calm. He's centered. He's mysterious. She starts asking herself questions. Why isn't he chasing me? Why does he feel so complete? Who is this man when I'm not around? And that curiosity, that's the spark. Approval seeking is self-abandonment. It tells her you've left your own center just to bid hers. And no woman wants a man who revolves around her. She wants to enter your world. She wants to feel your gravity. She wants to know you're on your path with or without her. So how do you break this pattern? You stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for who you are. You stop asking for reassurance every time the energy shifts. And instead, you trust your presence. You trust your silence. You trust your good. Because a man who values his own judgment more than hers, that's the man she starts respecting. That's the man who can lead. That's the man who creates tension. That's the man who drives her wild. Marcus Aurelius put it like this: if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. Stop judging yourself through her years. Start seeing yourself through your own. Never crave her approval. Stand in your own, and you'll be shocked how fast the dynamic changes. She'll chase. She'll open. She'll surrender because she's finally met a man who doesn't need her to feel like a man. And that is rare. If you've ever caught yourself chasing her validation, leave a comment. I approve myself and keep watching. What's coming next will flip the power dynamic and show you how real attraction is built without saying a word. Boundaries that keep desire alive. Number 9. Let her storm. You stay stone. Let's talk about the real test of your masculinity. It's not how much money you make. It's not how chiseled your jaw is or how clean your watch looks. It's how calm you stay when everything around you is shaking. Let me give you a real story. Derek is 49, runs his own construction business in Colorado. Rugged, confident, the type of guy who commands a room. He starts seeing Carla, 45, a woman with a bold personality and strong emotions. One night at dinner, Carla gets triggered by something Derek says. She doesn't hold back. She snaps, raises her voice, accuses him of things that had nothing to do with the moment. Old Derek, he would have fired right back, matched her volume, taken it personally. But this time, he just sat back, breathed, let the storm pass. He didn't check out. He didn't lash out, has stayed stone, and that changed everything. Here's the truth. Women don't need you to fix their emotions. They need to feel your steadiness inside theirs. And when you flinch, when you meet her chaos with your own, you don't calm the storm. You become part of it, you break the frame. There's a line from Marcus Aurelius that captures this perfectly. Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break. But it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. That's what she needs from you. Not a fixer, not a fighter, not a runner. She needs a foundation. Most men think they're doing the right thing by matching her energy, showing passion, not letting her walk all over me. But that's not strength, that's reactivity. Strength is emotional stillness. Strength is watching her rage and not letting your heart rate spike. Strength is loving her through the storm without losing yourself in it. Derek later told me that moment. At dinner was the first time I felt like a man who led the moment instead of surviving it. You see, when you anchor your nervous system, when you own your energy, something shifts. She starts to feel safe, not because you agreed with her, not because you solved the problem, but because you stayed solid. Women are emotional by nature. That's not a flaw. That's part of their brilliance. But emotion ungrounded becomes chaos. And chaos, without contrast, becomes fear. She needs to bump into your calm to feel her own storm settle. Now let's make something clear. This isn't about tolerating disrespect. It's about learning the art of non-reactive leadership. You don't allow her to spiral unchecked. You just don't give the spiral more fuel. You hold your posture. You breathe deeper. You listen fully. And when the storm softens, then you speak. That pause. That's your power. It says, you can rage, but you can't move me. And that kind of presence, it rewires something inside her. It tells her, this man isn't afraid of my darkness. He doesn't flinch at my fire. And that's what makes her lean in. That's what makes her trust. That's what makes her desire you. Because the man who doesn't get pulled by her chaos is the man she'll crave when the world goes quiet. So when the storm comes, and it will, don't chase her, don't argue with her. Don't flinch, be the cliff, be the mountain, be the stone, and you'll be the one. Share members. If you've ever passed that test or failed it but learned from it, drop it in the comments. I stay unshaken. Now let's finish this. The final truth is the one she won't admit, but she'll never forget. Number 10. She'll remember the man who didn't flinch. Let's strip this down to 10. Master the switch, keep the fire, something raw. When it's all said and done, when the emotions fade, the texts slow down, the intimacy cools. There's one thing she'll never forget. The man who didn't flinch. Not the one who said the right things. Not the one who played all the clever games. Not Theon who tried to impress her every step of the way. She'll remember the man who didn't lose himself trying to win her, because that's rare. See, women are surrounded by men constantly bending, shifting, reacting, doing whatever they can to stay in her good graces. But the moment a man sacrifices his center for her comfort, she feels it and she forgets him. Why? Because a woman doesn't fall for how much you chase. She falls for how deep your presence sits. Let's flip the perspective. Now, this last part isn't about her storm. It's not about her tests. It's about you. What kind of men are you when she pushes every button? Who are you when silence stretches between texts? When her attention fades, when her warmth turns cold? Do you shrink, panic, beg, or dare you hold? The man who doesn't flinch has done the inner work. He's faced himself in the mirror. He's battled through failure, loss, heartbreak, and came out quieter, stronger, deeper. He's rooted. He knows that whether she stays or leaves, the mission remains. That's the shift. You stop living for reaction. You start living for alignment. A woman's opinion no longer builds or breaks your identity. You stop needing her to validate what you already know, that you're grounded, you're clear, you're whole. And in that space, something amazing happens. She leans in, not because you demanded it, but because she feels it. The truth is, most men will never reach this. They'll spend their lives searching for approval, addicted to attention, constantly performing. But the man who stands still while the world moves around him, he becomes unforgettable. There's nothing louder than a man who doesn't need to raise his voice. Nothing more attractive than a man who doesn't need to prove his worth. Because that kind of man reminds her of something deeper, something ancient, something every feminine soul craves at its core, a center that won't collapse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." She'll remember the man who revoked panic, who refused drama, who stayed calm when she lost control. The man who made her feel like chaos had no power over him, not by resisting her emotion, but by allowing it to exist without absorbing it. She may leave. She may forget your jokes, your dates, even your face, but she won't forget your energy. Because the man who stays rooted in the storm leaves an imprint that lingers long after the dust settles. That's the she replays in her mind at night. That's the man she compares others to. That's the man she still dreams about, even when she pretends she doesn't. So don't be the man who flinched. Don't bear the man who chased. Don't be the man who collapsed. Be the man who stood and shaken, unbothered, unforgettable. She'll remember that man. Drop a final word in the comments if this series awakens something in you. I never flinch. Conclusion. You've just walked through what most men will never understand. Not because they can't, but because they won't slow down long enough to see what's really happening beneath the surface of a woman's words. This wasn't about tricks. It wasn't about manipulation. It was about presence, depth, and the kind of masculine stillness that doesn't just attract women but earns their respect. If you've made it this far, chances are you're not like most men. So don't stop here. Subscribe now and stay on this path, because every day we go deeper, every day we get sharper, and every day you become more of the man you were meant to be. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. The man who stands still while the world moves around him, he becomes unforgettable. There's nothing louder than a man who doesn't need to raise his voice. Nothing more attractive than a man who doesn't need to prove his worth. Because that kind of man reminds her of something deeper, something ancient, something every feminine soul craves at its core, a center that won't collapse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." She'll remember the man who revoked panic, who refused drama, who stayed calm when she lost control. The man who made her feel like chaos had no power over him, not by resisting her emotion, but by allowing it to exist without absorbing it. She may leave. She may forget your jokes, your dates, even your face, but she won't forget your energy. Because the man who stays rooted in the storm leaves an imprint that lingers long after the dust settles. That's the she replays in her mind at night. That's the man she compares others to. That's the man she still dreams about, even when she pretends she doesn't. So don't be the man who flinched. Don't bear the man who chased. Don't be the man who collapsed. Be the man who stood and shaken, unbothered, unforgettable. She'll remember that man. Drop a final word in the comments if this series awakens something in you. I never flinch. Conclusion. You've just walked through what most men will never understand. Not because they can't, but because they won't slow down long enough to see what's really happening beneath the surface of a woman's words. This wasn't about tricks. It wasn't about manipulation. It was about presence, depth, and the kind of masculine stillness that doesn't just attract women but earns their respect. If you've made it this far, chances are you're not like most men. So don't stop here. Subscribe now and stay on this path, because every day we go deeper, every day we get sharper, and every day you become more of the man you were meant to be. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.